Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Circle City. Hope you guys are having a good day. So, as you may or may not know, Vibrant Visuals has been released for Minecraft Bedrock, and Mojang would like that to be our default setting. We are not going to play with that because, quite frankly, I consider it to be unplayable at this point. We are just going to take a few seconds to show you exactly why we are not going to be using that. So let me take a quick nap and we're going to go outside. Okay, so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because there are many videos out there that will showcase exactly what all of the graphics look like in their various biomes and whatnot. So I'm just going to show briefly how it affects our world and why I have decided not to play on that setting yet. So I just want to point out real quick, yes, we have lots of water around us. Of course, I want you to look at our waterfall over yonders. And the other thing I want you to look at is our, our crappy deck here. But just look at the texture and the color of our oak wood. This is oak wood, by the way. And then looking at Circle City itself, let's come over here real quick so that you can get a quick visual about what this looks like right now. Okay, so I'm going to come back over to our deck and then I'm going to save the world and switch over to Vibrant Visuals, which I'm rather loath to do this because I've spent, some time just playing with the settings and everything, trying to make it look okay. But anyway, I just gotta suck it up and do it so I can show you guys. Hopefully the world will work okay and won't crash on us, but we'll see. Okay, so in settings, you have to go back to the main menu for one thing to change this. You want to go to video and graphics mode. We're going to send to Vibrant Visuals. And then under, this always happens, under our options, I'm just going to show you what I've got. The brightness I have set just in medium right now. That little creeper demo there, I don't know exactly what you're supposed to do with it, but I played around with it quite a bit and it's not really the best representation of what you're going to actually be seeing. So I have shadow quality on medium right now, clouds medium, fog low, reflections low, bloom at 50. I'm not really sure exactly what bloom does. But like I said, it doesn't really matter. I did do a test where I put shadow quality all the way up to high. But I will talk about that a little bit more when I go into the game. But right now I'm just going to leave it at medium. I did set our render distance to 20 because it defaulted at like 8, which meant that we really couldn't see anything on the initial loading of this. Okay, so all that set, let's just go and load up the world real quick. Take a quick minute to look at stuff. Okay, so here we are, Vibrant Visuals, and yes, it is very vibrant. As you can see, first off, our oak wood has changed quite significantly. It no longer looks like oak unless it's in a shadow. It looks more like acacia. It looks a lot more like acacia now, which is pretty appalling to me. Other thing you notice, like our shadows are kind of going in and out here. And this is because the sun is moving in the sky and it's trying to make shadows. If you look up our waterfall, you can't even really see it anymore. And the blocks around it just look pretty abhorrent. The water is pretty, but I think it's a bit too clear. And the blocks underneath the water just look not great, in my opinion. But yeah, but we are getting quite a bit of flickering going on. But anyway, the biggest problem that I see with the shadow renderings is when we come out and we look at our current build of Circle City. Here you don't see it quite so much, but do you notice like this blue? See how that's like rendering in like really, really slowly? I believe that that is a shadow that is being cast by our emblem. And as this kind of goes on, it's going to keep trying to make shadows. And kind of all the way around our building. So here we go. I mean, no. So now our build looks entirely and completely different. And the sun is at pretty much noon right now. So this is not what I want my builds to look like after I work so hard on them. I don't want the colors of them to change so drastically that it doesn't even look like what I intended it to look like. So, and then while we're out here, this is what our character looks like. Enough said there. Let's go inside because this is like the biggest thing. Now I have pretty well painstakingly made sure that inside Circle City there is enough light that it looks nice and bright and it doesn't look like we are living in a cave. This is what it looks like. It pretty much looks like permadusk in here. And no. We can't. So I'm gonna run across the other side because I want to see if this other thing is happening now that the sun is on that side of the build. Yeah, but our trees that we worked so hard on to make them look happier, living in the shadows again. Yeah, here. So if you look in the corner here, I mean, it's a kind of a well-known fact that corners kind of create light leaking, but you don't really see that generally. It's just kind of a thing that you have to know about. But here you can see where it is actually trying to eke light through the corners. Yeah, so so I do think that over time Mojang is going to take it's so bad. But anyway, as I was saying, I do think that over time Mojang is going to keep working on this because I know that they have been working on it for quite a while. And so I think that they'll continue to update it and improve it and, you know, work on the light settings a little bit so that this sort of stuff won't happen and it'll kind of become a thing of the past. So hopefully. But yeah, so those are the reasons why we are not going to be playing with vibrant visuals at the moment. And I am super duper ready to get back into our regular fancy graphics and keep moving ahead. Okay, glad to see this in normal mode again. One thing I forgot to say is that when I did do my testing on the high quality shadows, it did kind of change that dark blue to like a lighter gray, but the shadow that was created by the emblem was still rather blue. And it did take quite a bit longer for all of those shadows to render in. It was, I probably watched it for like 30 to 40 seconds, just create shadow after shadow after shadow. Anyway, I want to be done with that for now. I don't want to think about it anymore. It's kind of distressing to me. So, you know, and the fact that when I loaded up the game, I thought the game was broken because I didn't realize that they had put the update in and set it to default. So like when you load it in, you were forced to go into it and look at it without even realizing. So yeah, I kind of panicked just ever so slightly. Anyway. Where's my other food? Okay. Alright, so what we are going to be doing today is we are going to do some modifications on Tier 1. And the reason I want to do some modifications on Tier 1 is there are some things that I want to add onto Tier 2. And when I added them on, it made Tier 1 look very unpolished and very, you know, a little bit too simple. So I'm just going to come out here and we're going to take a look. This is what we're looking at now. We are going to do some slight changes to our emblem up here. And we are going to change these lines up on the side and do a little bit of stuff up here. So I want to do some changes to our emblem, basically because like I wanted these little, you know, white and pink splotches to look kind of like a gem. And though it looks okay right now, it's just not quite shiny enough. And so we're just going to do like some simple variations of some blocks to make that look a little bit better. So we're going to come up here. I'm going to put in a quick little platform. Yeah, I should probably get my wings just in case I do something stupid and fall off. So let me go do that real quick. Okay, so got my little platform in. We're in front of our emblem, and pretty much all I'm gonna do is just pull out some of the blocks that are there and replace them with some variations. So might as well start here. So we're going to pull out this block and we're going to add snow there instead. And on this side, we're going to change out this Sakura block with some pink powdered concrete. And then along in the middle here, we're going to replace this guy with snow. These 3. And that top one. We're going to get rid of these 4 blocks here. We're going to put powdered concrete here and there. And then we're going to put pink wool up there. Yeah, I took out one too many wool block, or yeah, I took out one too many wool blocks there, so let me put this back in there. I thought that looked funny. Can I reach that? There we go. Okay. And there we are. So it looks a lot shinier, a little bit more variance in there. Looks a little bit more like light is shining on it at a certain angle. And I'm quite happy with that. I think it looks a lot better to have like those variations in it. That keeps it from looking quite as flat. So we are going to move right along to our next modification, which is going to be these lines here. I was never kind of really happy with how these kind of, started with kind of a weird placement on the bottom and then ended with a weird placement on the top. So we are going to go ahead and fix that by just realigning the way that this pattern runs. And first off, I need to take out this bottom line of stone blocks here. And replace those with wool. And we're gonna start up on this corner and just replace our zigzags going up. Alright, so I got us to the top of our wall, and up here we're just gonna kind of keep going up. Alright, so I got the front part of that one done, so you can see kind of where we're going with this a little bit. I still have to do this side, and then I'm going to change this side, to match this one, obviously. So let me go ahead and do all of that. Alright, so I got all that done, and the only thing left to do for this part is to modify this middle bit right here, so it goes together a little bit better. It doesn't look so broken and awkward right there. So to do that, I think it's better that we go up to the top here and start sorting that out. This is going, this is going. And then I got myself kind of confused. Let me think for just a second. Yeah, it's kind of hard looking at this like on the flip side. You know, obviously I designed it like facing forward, so when I'm coming in here trying to do this backwards, I'm like, am I doing this right? I think it's okay. Okay, so I just realized that on my picture I used two different blocks on either side, for these little corners here. So I had to like make a quick decision about which one I think looks better, and I think we're gonna go with the regular deep slate here as opposed to the deep slate tiles, because I think it'll just kind of blend a little bit better, I guess. It probably doesn't even matter in the long run, but whatever. So we're gonna do that there. Here we are going to put down one of our Securas. Oh god, I stuck myself. Stuck. Alright, that guy goes there, and I didn't go down deep enough, so right, yeah, so I need to go down one more. So let's get rid of you and you. Different tool. I need to go here. Okay, and then this is coming out. This is coming out. You are coming out. And then this is where we're going to do this one, and then our Secura here. And then okay. Got it. And this will go here and there. And then we want a wool block on top of our Secura there. Okay, I just keep second guessing myself because this is what I do. So we're gonna put those two there. And then we're gonna put two staircases on the side here. And then I just have to replace the backside blocks of our emblem here, and then we'll be good with this. Alright, so got it all done and all completed. Of course, I got to do this 3 more times, but I'm good with that. I do think it just makes it look a little fancier without being, you know, super overpowering. So I'm happy with that. And I know, like, on this straight shot here, this side line might look a little bit harsh, but when we come around... Hi, what you got? Nothing fantastic. Well, that's interesting that you can trade water buckets for emeralds. I don't know if that's really worth it, but hey, Roth. But anyway, as we come along the side, you know, you can see where it looks, you know, looks okay. Doesn't look so, like, kind of awkward when you're looking at it from an angle. So I am down with that. So these corners here are the next thing that we are going to be working on. As it is, it's just pretty basic. I mean, it doesn't look terrible or horrible or whatever, but we're just gonna make some base changes to it to make it look a little bit shinier, a little bit more interesting, instead of just being so, you know, basic. Okay, so first thing that we are going to do is replace these bottoms with wool again. To correct our zigzag pattern going up. So that's a rather simple fix going in there. And I think I had done all of these like doubled because early on when I was building this, I was having to wait for my white wool to produce itself. So eventually I'm probably am going to come across and replace these places that are 2 blocks thick with white wool, since right now I have, you know, tons and tons of white wool. Ugh. It's such an awkward angle to look at. So first thing that we're gonna do is on the center blocks, we're just gonna come in and replace the very centers with snow. It's not gonna be like super apparent, but I do think that it just adds just a little bit of shine to it when everything is said and done. And next thing we're gonna do is add some cobbled deep slate and deep slate tiles to border our pattern a bit. So beside every one of our bamboo bricks, or mosaic bamboo blocks, we're gonna put just plain old deep slate next to that. And then next to our deep slate cobble, we are going to put in the deep slate tiles. So that's going to give us like a nice kind of little border going around our pattern here. And then last but not least, on our way down, we are going to add a row of trapdoors. Alright, got that done, so we can cross back over and take a look at it so you can see the full effect that it's going to have. But we should probably sleep first. Hi, horsey face. Hi! Okay, so there it is. It's all done and completed. And I think that just looks a lot more interesting. And not so plain and simple. And I'm pretty happy with the way that that is looking now. And let's get back over to the other side, if I can do it without falling in anything weird. Okay. I think we're okay up here. I don't think there's any holes up here. Yeah, so I think that those are some simple modifications to make tier 1 just look a little bit fancier than it did before. As I move forward, I mean, I might modify it a little bit more here and there. I'm not really sure yet. I was kind of playing around a little bit with kind of scalloping this edge up here a little bit, but I'm not really sure if I like it yet or not, so I might play around with that some more, because I do think that it does add a bit more to it, a bit more dimension to it, instead of it just being, you know, plain straight across. And I think that just by completing this little bit, I think that gives you an idea of what it's going to look like when we are done. So I am going to call this episode done for now, because I got some laundry to see to, and I can certainly do that while I am working on completing the rest of this. So until next time, I just want to thank you guys for stopping by, and thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye bye.